Welcome back, folks. Today I plan to make the bulkhead. This is going to be double edged and hollow, and this side here is going to be wallpapered, so that gives me the opportunity to be able to put wallpaper this side and that'll hide all the joins. It's not important. On this side, however, we are going to spend a bit of money and use one of the new pieces, and we're going to varnish that all up, put some stain on it and varnish it all up like I did on the bulkhead over the cab area. So yeah, that's pretty much it so far. It's a weird thing. Right, what I've done, 2 pieces of wood because they weren't long enough to reach, and that is a good strengthener anyway. Actually cut a recess down here so it fits behind, and then the second piece has gone on next to it, slightly raised. I'm hoping I can get these two to sit level. I won't be able to screw to that. I was going to rivet to it, but I've changed my mind. What I can do is I can screw to this piece of wood here, and then we can put some polyurethane glue behind because it will stick to the steel. Marvellous stuff for that kind of job. This is where I got this panel so far. It has been proving a bit tricky in places. So I think the best thing now is where I've drawn it out. I'm going to put that on my table saw in the shed, cut that all out, and then I'll finish framing around bottom, sides, top and all the rest of it. Then we'll get the belt sander around them curves there and there, but you'll note I haven't put any in there. The purpose behind that is steaming wood is all very well and good, but I'm not using green wood. Green wood is where it's been freshly cut off the tree and it still has the sap inside the wood, which makes it that little bit more flexible and takes less effort to steam it up. I'll give you an idea of what's going on. It's got to be pushed up against the wall as yet, which I haven't done, but we've curved it top and bottom. We've just got to batten it out now, and then we can get a clean piece of ply out of the shed when it's out of the house when it stops raining. Right, wallpaper's on, but even managed to get some lacquer on it. Probably the only one that has lacquer at the moment. The other two will have to be done with an aerosol can. Right, new day, Saturday. We've just got to screw that all in place now today. But before I do that, I have to make up the rear panel, which is going to eventually be varnished and stained. We'll then glue and screw that into place, and we'll work out how we're going to do the wood trims at a later date, because we didn't quite get those square. I need a little bit more sanding under there with the sander. I have used a square to square off. You can see it goes downhill a little bit, so we've got a little bit more work to do there. Not a lot. So yeah, I plan to finish this off today. So yeah, we're going to crack on now. Right, that is now screwed in place. We have cut a load of, I think this is teak, off a horse box. We cut it, we planed it, and squared it all off. Battens across here, we'll run some battens across there. We're not going to put none across the back because there's wires behind there. I know roughly where they are, but I just don't want to put any more screws in that wall. So we're just going to slide them in, cut biscuit holes in each plank, slot them all together. Right, so far, I'll pull that across as yet. Got me biscuits, bought these years ago. Not that keen on them, but I don't have any doweling, so I can't dowel them, so I'm going to have to do them with those. But before I do that, I have to measure underneath, because I need a beam to go there, pulling that too, and I can then start the down frames and then the grating hole for that bit, and tomorrow we can stain up and start thinking about some varnish work on that part and on the door again. Right, what you have is that little machine there plunges forward. There is a blade inside there, as you can see, like a little saw blade that cuts these grooves out. Fill the grooves with glue along that edge there, and you slot them together. It's actually an American idea, I do believe, but don't quote me on it. And it was to replace the dowels. I have to be honest with you, I prefer the doweling system myself, where you've got two metal pins that mark out, and then you drill with a pillar drill, and then you put dowels. That's how it works. Just wants a good sanding where I can get the sander. I haven't screwed the rest of them down yet. I will do that in a little while. I've got a bit of a raised area there where the biscuit hasn't quite lined up. But yeah, good to go. Sanded it all back. Best I can get it. I have to get the sander just in here. That feels a bit rough, but I've got to get it underneath that, so it's going to be sandpaper by hand, I reckon. So okay, the microwave tray is now in. It's got a little bit too late at night now, I'm packing up. But we've got a piece of mahogany to shove across there is yet to do. Batten to go underneath here, as you can see there. And then we're going to put a bit of mahogany level with the underside and that fascia there. Fortunately, I can't do anything with a rotor, which is what I was planning to do. Simply because I was so enthusiastic to show you what a biscuit was, I completely forgot to do that before I put this all together. So, bummer. Then tomorrow we'll run a couple of battens down there, and I'm just debating whether I'm going to plywood this thing or cut some more of that out. I'll probably plywood down each side of this, and then we'll alter this so I can't pull this apart. Wondering what's going on here. All will be revealed, but I can show you that if it ain't too dark. The batteries are there to put weight to compress what is underneath. Will be revealed. Anyway, this is where we've got this so far. Put a nice panel in at the bottom. That's removable. You see the two larger holes, there's two screws in there that can be removed and drawn out. There's another two more. I don't know if we'll show you them. I don't know if you can see that, it's pretty dark in here. They can be drawn out easily, so that whole panel can be removed. Purpose being, if I have to service and remove the unit, I can get that out without too much aggravation. We're putting a raised door on there. Now you saw the batteries in the living room. That is in, what's the word I'm looking for, conjunction with that doorway. Actually, to be more specific, that one down here that's been broken. I'll get the light. There you go. You see that one has been broken up. Well, I'm trying to make a new backplate because we've got all this lovely teak and mahogany, and then we've got oak. So I was going to sand all that lot down and replace that with a piece of this bent stuff that I got. Now what I've done is I've actually split the plywood down, because they're two pieces joined together and they're put in a form, which is why they basically lamination. So I've tried to remove that, put it through my planer. Didn't quite go to plan. I didn't think it would, but I've put another piece of flat ply on top, which is why there's batteries there, compressing the whole lot down. The only problem is when it went through the planer, it got a little bit thin at the edges, and I'm not sure if that's all going to work out or not, but we had to try, at least had to try. Hopefully we will have an oak framed with a Honduras mahogany centre, and the oak will get stained up as dark as I can get it, so the whole lot will blend in, and I'm going to do all of that before I glue it all back together. If it works, it will go in there. If it doesn't work, I'll be sanding one of them down and staining them up. Okay, trimmers in. Just got to knock them out, put some caps over. I made a drawer, a very basic drawer. That will be painted up white. That goes in here because it was easier to do a drawer than it was to actually put a floor, if you see what I mean. Purpose being, if I need to top this up, I can now get to it, and there'll be a jerry can go in here if I can find one to fit. Now we've got a baking tray. I'm using that as a splash guard for the diesel. That's going to be bolted onto there, so it runs a little more silent, and we'll have this probably there. Not quite sure yet how, but we'll screw that down to that top piece of wood, and the batten will go in right at the back. You just move that. There'll be one go across there, so the back lip can be screwed down as well, and then that keeps it off the machine, gets it to a decent height. Excuse me, and really can go from there. Really, right. There's the door, drying off just nicely. I'll need another sand back on here, and then we can varnish it all up and get it a little bit better than what it is. I've scrubbed up as best as I can get it. Unfortunately, it's not too great. Plugged up all the holes that I could get to with a sander as best as possible. We didn't do them too because I can't get the sander in there, so we just sunk the screws instead. And the tray is now in. I wanted to show you this before I pulled it out. There you go. That will be strapped on with a leather belt. We will drill 2 holes, rivet the belt in, rivet it in there, and then we'll just strap it there. That should keep it. Unfortunately, this ratty pipe here won't allow this to come right forward because it has the potential of being there. So it's just going to have to be a case we'll have to draw the drawer out in order to access it. And once the door goes on and the grate is all in place, I think this is going to look fabulous. Right, I've given that another coat, sanded it down, wiped it. That's going on tomorrow, even in that state, because I can always sand it back gently once it's in place over there. We've varnished that all up. We haven't done the bottom panel yet. I've got to do that in a little while. I want to sit down and watch a movie while I wait for this to dry. We've got the heater on low, so we're doing well. A bit dusty up there, but microwave's going in that area anyway. I've lacquered the wallpaper to go on there. I thought I'd make a change, I'll do it first. So I've got that to put on tomorrow, and I think tomorrow we will go to tool station, we'll get a socket for that, we'll get a junction box to join that, and we'll lengthen those wires up and thread them through into there because they're switch wires for the 12 volt systems that go in the back of these. So we can get that way, we can get a little bit ahead on that, and as I say, we'll get that hung, and I'll get a wheel as well and rebuild all the bottom back up, and then hopefully we'll have it before the day is over. I've tried my hardest to disguise that line as much as I can. I had to use a filler in there, a proper wood filler, but to be between you and me, all it was car filler dyed. That's how it came in the can. It was supposed to be mahogany, and that is mahogany. That's oak, but that's mahogany. I'm still happy with that. The old lady's quite happy with that, and that's what counts in my book. So we'll screw that sucker on tomorrow, and we'll move on to other things. Well, I don't know how this cold weather is going to affect this, but I've got stuff lying around everywhere at the moment for the truck. That's going to get wallpapered on tomorrow with some spray adhesive. It's got 2K lacquer on it. I just felt that it'd be easier to do it before it went on, because obviously I can't get the spray gun in the van because of confined space, and being out on the front wouldn't quite go down too well. So yeah, it's dry, but it's cold. A horrible feeling that's going to go all nasty on me during the night, but as long as it's protected on the wall, it won't matter. So today we are going to fit that bottom panel. I'm going to put a socket in up top and a junction box for the orange wires. I have got a grill coming, hopefully, so the grill will go on. I have also ordered a extraction fan hole tube and grill for up there, and another junction box which is going to get screwed in. got two choices. We either have a wonky line there and a straight one there, or we have a wonky one there and a straight one there. I don't really know which is the best. Oh, what the hell. Okay, so we've got a wonky line. Something went wrong. I think the door is off, because when I put that panel in, it didn't go back together properly. It wouldn't surprise me if the whole door has gone out of square. Oh dear, oh dear. There we go. Don't like it. That's not going to work. It's too restrictive. All I've got is that. We're going to have to come back to that another day. Not liking it. Go. Right, so far we've got the door on, but because of the positioning of the door, the drawer doesn't no longer fit, so we've got to cut the drawer up and redo it. Not a problem. We've got the bottom panel in. You're wondering why I put that vent down there. That is actually an exit vent for one of those things, but that one's different to what that is. You'll know, oh you won't know because the tray's in the way, but there is a vent at the back that blows the air in, and they've got a cold area down here, so I thought it would make sense once this cupboard is all sealed up to have the air suck in through that vent there and come through and out here. Unfortunately the grate I've got won't work on here, and I don't like that, so we might take that panel out and replace it with some wallpaper and hide the screws up completely, but that's for something for another time. time to fit the wiring. We're getting there slowly, but in Toolstation's lovely infinite wisdom, they never sell you the chock blocks with the junction boxes, which I completely forgot about. Put the plug in, I've put it high up because I know there's no wires running along that top line as far as my memory serves. 90% sure there isn't. And I put it in sideways, so when I put the microwave on I can bring the wire up and around and then click it in that way. So everything should work according to plan. All the wires that you see going through, they come along here and go along to the back wherever they need to. I do not recall having them at the top at all. So that is it so far. Right, couldn't show you this being made because the battery's getting a bit low. Now as you can see we've got a hollow down there. I have cut a new piece of wood, but I wanted a support wheel under there so it didn't put too much strain and stress on these things. And what I used was one of these from Toolstation, a little caster. Unfortunately I couldn't use all of it, so I had to cut 2 pieces of steel out, rivet them on each side with a hole and a new bolt, and I also put this through the machine just to skinny it up too much. Now what I've got to do next is find a way of putting these on, so I'm probably going to have to put some spacers behind one of these 2 sides. It'll be this one I reckon. I was not planning to put this that way round, I wanted to put it here, but as you can see it's interfering with the wheel, and I didn't want to put the wheel on the end because I didn't want the wheel in view, and obviously being chipboard I didn't want that being a very weak area for that to bust. So it has left me with a small issue. I've put little spacers behind there just so I can get it clear of that. I reckon I'm going to have to do the same that side as well. Finally they're on. A bit of a nightmare. Had to do some re-drilling on this one. This didn't go quite the plan, but it's level with the wood. Could do with it being shunted about a bit more, but got it as straight as I can get it. Am I feeling a wee tad on the smug side? Yeah, a little bit. It's a bit stiff in places, but I'll deal with that. Right, let me show you what I've done. I knew you guys would want to see this finished, this door, instead of just uploading today. So what we got going on, quite simple. It's a little, well, it's quite strong in that position, but because I've used draw runners, it's a little bit flimsy, but I can live with that. I don't like seeing the brackets. There's nothing I can do about that. That bottom one, because there's a wheel at the bottom guiding it, I can't hide that underneath. It's just not possible to do, and because I ain't got enough room at the top to put that bracket up there, and I didn't want a big old gap, that's what you get. But the top one we can hide with a piece of trim going across, so we're going to put some wood here coming out a little bit, and we can come across here with a piece of this stuff all the way along, so we can hide the top one. The bottom one, if it really is that bad to look at, which ain't great, is it? I suppose I could put a step. I could do that. So, with that in mind, we've only got 2 things left to do, and the first one of them is junction box 1, junction box 2. I wanted to put the fan in before I uploaded today, but that's now too late to be able to drill a hole in that wall and fit the external, which I don't think is going to be very strong anyway, but there's an external grill. I ain't going to get that sucker in there tonight, so I'm just going to put the 2 junction boxes in. I'm going to send my boy down to Toolstation to get the rest of what was needed, because they have cheated me a little bit, and then we'll get those done, and then I think we will just plain and simply upload. On the next edition, I'm going to start that wall there, and then we're going to work out how we're going to do this wall. I wanted to do that wall first. I've only got 2 sheets of ply, and I'm not quite sure how this is all going to pan out and where I'm going to go with the seats. So I'm definitely going to do that one. I would like to do this one as a single piece of ply coming out to cover that little lot up. And then we've got to work out to whether the last piece of ply is going to go on that wall, or if it's going to go down on the floor with a sort of a cut in like so, you know, an arc, so as we can put seats in and a table and still be able to walk around and all the rest of it. So just watch this space. I'm afraid my battery's going to die, so I am actually going to upload this video now before this battery goes. So yeah, look, thank you very much for viewing. Thanks for your likes that you gave on the last one. 350 something views. It's probably one of the best viewing ratings I've had so far today. So again, thank you. I'm obviously doing something right. So I just hope you enjoyed this one as much as you have enjoyed all the others. So once again, thank you very much for your time and your patience. Bye bye.